time to waste, so let's get into it. I actually want to start around Wednesday, Thursday. At what point, Daniel, did you know that this was going to be, you talked about it afterwards, but that this was going to be a bit of a tougher cut? You had been out for some time, that you were in for something. At what point did you recognize that?
Oh, I knew on Wednesday. My weight was good. I was like 200. I guess Wednesday morning, I think I was like 218. But I could just feel like I wasn't losing as much as I would lose normally. So whereas I would go and work out for an hour and lose 8 pounds, I was losing 5.5 pounds. So I was like, this is going to be a little bit of a tougher cut. So I know Thursday is going to be rough.
And then comparing it to your other cuts at 205 in terms of the strain on your body, was this the toughest one?
Oh, yeah, 100%. This is the hardest one by far. I think the beginning of my career at 205 pounds, the beginning of my 205-pound career was easier because I was fighting so often. Like, you remember I fought Patrick Cummins, and I fought Dan Henderson, and then I fought Jones, and I fought Gustafson, Rumble. They were all within like the first year and a half. So every 3-4 months I was fighting. Whereas now, after Gustafson, it was like 9 months, and then this time again it was like 8 months. So it was like it's just a lot of time in between fights. So I need to be a little more active so that my weight doesn't get as high, and also my body gets used to the weight cut again.
You've talked in the past about not loving the early weigh-in. What time did you have to wake up on Friday morning to try to make that 205 limit, and what kind of state were you in when you came downstairs? When you came downstairs to weigh in, did you think in your mind that you were going to still hit that 205 even though it was a rough journey to get there?
Yes, I did. I was tired, man. I got up at 5:30 because I was still 7 pounds overweight on Friday morning, which is way more than I would normally cut on a day of weigh-ins. I prefer the late weigh-ins. I prefer having the morning to just rest and relax, get up at my time and go and do it. Or if I need to, if I have a 4 o'clock weigh-in, get up at 9, work out for an hour, go home and rest for a few hours, go back and do the rest. Whereas this time it felt like a crunch, even though I got up super early to start getting it done. But yeah, when I went down, my scale in the room said I was on weight, so I figured I was good, but I was tired. I was really tired. I was exhausted. If you watch as I walk onto the scale, I was kind of almost staggering because the weight cut was a little harder than I anticipated it being.
When they announced that you're 206.2 and then you walk to the back, what's going through your mind?
Oh, my goodness, what is happening? Like, how could this possibly be happening? How am I going to lose this championship on the scale? That type of stuff.
And at what point does someone tell you you can actually go back? None of us knew, and I suspect the UFC didn't know that you had an extra 2 hours. Did you have any idea that you had an extra 2 hours?
Well, the commission, I was complaining, like, the scale's not right. I was like, this is BS. I want a reweigh. I was like, and even, I was like, this is some BS. My scale said it was 205. I said, also, I've been checking all week. I don't understand what the issue is. And then they said, well, you can go reweigh, but you also have 2 hours because it's a championship fight. So go reweigh. And if I didn't make it, then go back and lose the extra pound. So they informed me in the back while I was complaining, but I didn't know it at the time. My issue mostly was with feeling like my scale was right because I paid $600 for a brand new scale.
Did you consider, actually going to try to lose weight, or did you know in your mind, okay, my last check?
I was like, I know I was on weight. I was like, I know I'm on weight. Let's just go back and check again.
Okay.
So I went.
So you went back and checked again, and then you weigh in, and then you hit 205. What's going through your mind when that actually happens?
Thank goodness. That's why you saw the reaction.
Yeah.
The reaction was pure joy. Like, okay, justification. I knew that I weighed the weight that I was supposed to weigh after my weight cut. I mean, I had gotten a sauna. I worked out and rode the bike, and I also had sat in that stupid hot bath thing that people are doing nowadays that Dan convinced me to do and lost another 3 pounds. I was like, I don't want to get in another bath with 108-degree water,
Mm-hmm.
But it's so good knowing I didn't have to go back.
Now, I've never been hit up by more people in the sport than after you weighed in a second time, touching the towel, and giving me all kinds of theories as to how that can help you when you weigh in. Why did you touch the towel?
Well, when I got off the scale the first time, I walked away, and they didn't cover me, So obviously, a guy thinks that he's losing everything that he's worked for on the scale, and you just walk back off the scale, and nobody's worried about protecting me. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to hold the towel up a little bit myself to make sure that I'm covered. Now, reality is, I didn't even realize I was doing that until I saw pictures, honestly. I got to be completely honest with you. I didn't even realize I was doing that. You know, I was tired. I was, very discouraged and upset being that, everything that had just happened. So I didn't even realize that I was doing it.